Welcome. I'm glad you all made it. You know, if you have a question or you have a concern, I'm a good person to see. The timekeeper, James Anthony, is a good person to see. Amaryllis,
Talk to Jab.
the candidate, is a good person to see. But, you know, try not to be distracted by that apparently wounded bird that is drawing you away from what's hidden there. It's right there for you. So, welcome. Silence. We don't have a silent retreat, as you can tell. We don't have a silent retreat, but silence is really important for us. And so we keep the zendo silent. The eating area is silent. As you know, the cloister, the center of the center, you gotta love that, is silent. There's lots of great space to have conversation. There are some picnic tables actually out here, and you can eat out there and talk quietly if you wish to have a conversation. We think conversation is essential, or I don't know what we think, but I love conversation. I've been undone by many conversations I've had here. But it's a balance, right? So if you want to have that great conversation, it's good to take it off. Because silence is it's a one-way ratchet. You know, if you're making sounds and someone is holding the silence, they really can't. So do that, you know. Be aware of what's, as much as you can, of like what's going on. So silence, don't worry about mistakes. We have an amazing group of teachers. We have 5 teachers. And you'll have an opportunity to see, you know, all of them really. And I think probably most people will be able to see a teacher every day. So the teachers are, if you don't know who they are, there's this fellow here, John Torrent, and every teacher has a liaison who, if you have a question about seeing a teacher or something like that, the liaison for the teacher is a good person to talk to. So John's liaison is Cindy Martinet. Rachel Boughton is another teacher, and her liaison, it's interesting, I went over all of these names. Her liaison is Dee Allen. Let me show you my list, how many times I practiced. David Weinstein is another teacher, and where's David's back here? And his liaison is my roommate. It's Michael Hoffman. Another teacher is Stephen Grant, and Stephen's liaison is Kristen Otto, and John Joseph is our 5th teacher, and his liaison is Carla Thomas. This Zendo will not be heavily occupied a lot. Why? Because we have 5 teachers, and people will be out in the line. But for at least some of us, for this Zendo is an interview room, right? And we're saying things without talking to each other when we're here. So, it's great. It'll be fun sailing together. Thank you.
So, I want to say a few words about Sesshin, about Yunmen. Yunmen's name means cloud gate. And cloud is a common name for people involved with Zen. And it's a Taoist idea originally that, you know, clouds follow along. They're not resisting things, but they save everything. Rain comes from clouds, shade comes from clouds. And they don't have, in a certain way, they don't have preferences, but they bring healing. So, and the name for a wanderer who just took up the way is clouds and water, unsweet clouds and water. But and many teachers have cloud in their name, and so I'm one of them actually, and that's not really important. But the idea that in some way Sesshin is a time when we become more transparent and things flow is valuable, and also it's a kind of gate, that we step through. So, and I think we've already stepped through it, really, just by coming here. So it's just a matter of noticing and not sort of wrestling with yourself, not finding fault with yourself. Clouds are not very self-critical, they just wander along with the wind. So the sense of following along the true rhythm of life is there. Yunmen, and I'll say a few things about Yunmen, I think. Yunmen was, he lived at a great high period of Chinese culture, when, people did that willow pattern ceramics and and the great poetry that became famous. And the koan tradition related to the poetry, and it came out of the poetry, and so the arts and music and was part of that. And that's so we still have art, and always have art in the meditation hall. We always have music in the meditation hall, and honouring those people. And just because beauty is part of Zen, and if you don't have beauty, it turns Puritan, and it's not so much fun, So and it's not also as true. I think it doesn't have as much integrity. So there's that. So Yunmen lived at this time, and it was also a dangerous time. So it was like our time. It was very uncertain, Some of his teachers had been on the run, just before he came along, because there was a great persecution of Buddhism just before his time, in which people had to hide in caves or they were killed. Or one of the people associated with him became a ferryman and ferried during that period, and ferried people, Yento, and ferried people across the river and back, which is a good metaphor for bodhisattva, And so I think of that as a context for Yunmen, and so he came at a time of difficulty and uncertainty, and famine and civil war, and he said every day is a good day. So, he wasn't just uninformed. So it's a great noble question to take into our hearts. Every day is a good day, and his first teacher really was a guy called Mujo, who was actually the head of practice with Linji when Linji was studying, and Linji said, "There's nothing I dislike," which is the other side of every day is a good day. But every day is a good day is somehow more thrilling, don't you think? It's less of an inquiry, but you can tell, there's an inquiry and a spaciousness in it. There's a wonder, well, is this my good day? So, and Mujo was very old, and those people have died already, but he was still taking some students, and Yunmen used to go to see him, and Mujo was old, and I don't know what, he was listening to some current in the universe or something, but he wouldn't, Ninji would come and, Yunmen would come and knock on his door, and the door wouldn't open. And he did that a few times, and then one day the door opened, and Mujo said, "Say something." And Ninji said, "I'm not clear about myself. I'm still not clear about myself." And Mujo said, "What nonsense," and closed the door. And at that moment, Yunmen, I keep confusing them, I'm fans of both, Yunmen had something opened for him. But I think the interesting thing to say here is that he was interested. He wasn't like he wasn't clear about what to do about X. He wasn't clear about who am I, what am I. And so in a sense all his great sayings and koans are about that. What am I? Who am I? And if we set that to rest, then our heart comes to rest and we find our place in the universe. Yeah. So that's what every day is a good day is about. And you can tell, it's like it was right there karmically at the beginning of his koan life, because say something. Say something in response. And it was that the sense of being a dancer that he has in all his interactions, you know. And we'll be talking about him. All the teachers will be talking about Linji's, Yun Men's koans this week. And so you'll get a feeling of that sense that, oh, there's something wonderful about the interchange in the teachings, you know. And it's the interchange between you and anything that comes, between you and the birds, between you and the custodian, Sister Margaret, between you and the coffee, between, you know, you and your koan. And that something happens in the between that's really important. It's not just stuff in the world, you know. There's this motion and this flow, this cloud-like flow. So there's that for Yun Men. And one of the things I'd say you notice is there are a lot of different ways to do a koan. And one of the things, having tried a lot of different ways to do koans over the years, I think that the best thing to do is to trust your own heart to find your way. You know? And don't be afraid to experiment, because, you know, you're not going to break it, and you're not going to do it wrong. And if you do something really dopey, that might open your heart in some way. It's like when Mujo said, "What nonsense," and slammed the door. He got it. You know, so great. And so it wasn't nonsense at all. It was a really good thing for him to say. So trust your own ability to just experiment and feel your way and float along like a cloud. And you'll find in the meditation, you'll find that there's times when everything, spaciousness opens up. Yeah. And then you'll find your grasp, you start clinging to it and grabbing onto it. And then spaciousness isn't there anymore. And I think you'll find it's pretty self-correcting. You know, you'll notice it's painful when the spaciousness isn't there, so you don't have to scold yourself for grabbing at things. Just you notice, oh, and you let go. And I think the main thing you'll find technically is don't fuss with yourself too much. Don't disapprove of what's coming up, because you'll be bored, you'll feel like an idiot. But who are you to judge? You're an idiot. How would you know? Is this true idiocy, or is this just a passing phase? You know. So in other words, that's having too much you to be judging yourself. Or this is boring, or this is painful, or I'll never get through this sorrow and grief that's come up. We don't know any of that. We just know in some way it's not only something for us to respond to, it is our response. And in some way, it's close to our good day. Whatever comes up is what we're being given. And the spaciousness is right in there. It's not somewhere else. The who am I and the spaciousness. And so, I don't know. I mean, when I first worked with this koan, I tried just repeating it every day, good day. Which is kind of the Chinese goes, day, good day. You know, so pretty simple. And then I got down to day, or good. I don't know, day. I'll stick to day. So anyway, so you feel you, and then at some stage, you know, it opens up for you. It doesn't really matter how you work with it, because it's yours. And the question of who's doing the meditation is always here, always close. You know. And the question of who's doing meditation is, well, the one who says something in response, the one who can say something backwards, the one who has a good day, is always here. And in some way, I think you might notice something. I noticed this thing that I've always been here. So you might notice you've always been here. You know. And you won't die. You've always been here. You're not going to go anywhere, so you might as well enjoy it. Show up for your life, have your life. If it's boring, really be fully bored. If it's sorrowful, enjoy your sorrow. You might not have any after that. You know. Have what you taste. You know, if you have grief, if you have anger, like this anger is full of transparency and the longing for clarity. So have that. You know. And every day is your good day. And the final thing to say, I think, as long with the non-judging, is listen to yourself. Listen to the movements in your heart and in your body. That we're always reaching past it. You know. It's here, and we go, I can't find it, because it's here. You know. But even the reaching past it is kind of cool, you know. It's all right, it's not really a mistake, so you don't have to be judging things the way you ordinarily judge things. If you just listen and have compassion and don't judge yourself, it'll be a good day. Thank you. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our seats, and then James is going to lead us through a sample walking meditation, so that you know, in walking meditation, the only thing to say is walking meditation is not meditation. In fact, there's nothing that's not meditation in a koan. In Koanville, it's all meditation all the way down. so walking is, you know, the good day is there, the say something backwards, say something in response.